one of our great partners here in West Bloomfield through the Parks and Recreation Department, and of course, just directly with Civic Center TV, is an organization that we met a couple of years ago, and they are fantastic. Bees in the D. And joining us now from Bees in the D is Brian Peterson-Roest. Brian, good morning. Good to have you back on.
Good morning. It's always great to be with you.
Well, thank you for being here. So I saw your Facebook post this morning. It got me inspired to give you a call, and thank you for joining us here on short order. Your post said our sixth beehive tour in 4 days. Wow, you were busy taking people around and showing them beehives. What is a beehive tour, Brian?
So we love partnering up with West Bloomfield Parks, and we also partner up with Southeast Michigan Girl Scouts. And we together have brought back the Girl Scout patch for beekeeping. And so a lot of those tours were with Girl Scouts, but a couple of them, the ones yesterday, were with West Bloomfield. And it's almost like you just get to shadow what I do as a beekeeper. We suit you up, we go in the hives. Beforehand, we do quite a bit of education about the different tools that are used, about the equipment, all of that stuff. And then what I'm looking for in a hive to make sure that those bees are healthy and flourishing. And so it's kind of like you're for lack of a better term, fly, or should I say bee on the wall, enjoying the tour with me.
Brian, listen, I live a very dangerous lifestyle. I fly airplanes, I got a motorcycle, I do all this dangerous work. I'm up on ladders, and you couldn't get me anywhere near a bunch of bees. That scare the living daylights out of me. Now, I know that's a phobia. How you know, this is what you've done your whole life, but I'm sure I'm not the exception.
Okay, challenge accepted, first of all.
Okay.
I will get you in a hive.
All right.
But I do want to share yesterday, one of the young men with his mother from West Bloomfield, that was the whole reason that they came for this hive tour. He has a fear of flying insects. And I say that because it's not just of bees, because we have wasps, we have hornets, we have many different kind of flying insects. And so together with his mother, they wanted to suit up to experience this, to kind of, I wouldn't say tackle the fear, but try to understand it a little bit more. And he was amazing. I was so proud of him. But I also respect that. So with our tours, if you feel more comfortable standing back a little bit more, of course, I'm going to honor that. I want you to be at the level that you feel comfortable, because I get it. I'm deathly scared of heights. Here I have beehives up on rooftops, up on some of them,
Sure.
way up on quite a few floors. But yeah, most people walk away with a totally different perspective than what they thought was going to happen. And that's one thing I love about us talking in the beginning about expectations, what they think is going to happen, and then talking with them after. And a lot of times, many of those misconceptions, those feelings have melted away.
I know you're going to say, oh, the bees are a lot more afraid of you than you should be of them. But leaving that aside for a minute, bees are critical. We all know. I mean, we learned very young in school that without the bees doing all the work to get the pollen from point A to point B, nothing else happens. Nothing really grows. Our whole ecosystem falls apart. How the bees doing? Are they? And we've heard that the bees have really had challenges in the last couple of decades.
And
how's it going?
Yeah, that's one reason we exist. And I want to remind everybody that we are bees in the D, not honeybees in the D. The honeybee population actually is pretty steady. And that's because of individuals like me or backyard beekeepers, because it is a hobby and it's therapeutic. And so the populations for honeybees are not too alarming. They have dropped. It's some of our native bees that we really need to get the word out there to help with that loss of habitat, to help with lack of pesticides and not using them, to help with some of the diseases that now are ailing some of our pollinators. But the great thing is we get to use the honeybees because they are a superorganism, form large colonies. They are actually livestock. we can go in and we manage them to make sure that they're healthy, and people can get up close and see that whole metamorphosis, the life cycle of that bee, everything that's going on in that hive, because that's also happening with a lot of our native bees, which, by the way, there's 460 just in Michigan, different kinds of bees, 4,000 in the United States and 20,000 worldwide. But the honeybees give us a window so that we can talk about it and have this narrative and talk about how we can help our bees and our pollinators as a whole. So yeah, the news is not the best. It was really popular, and you're hearing more about the monarchs, which are an important pollinator too. Their numbers are declining, but these bees are indicator species. It's telling us that we need to make some changes because, like you said, they are so important to our ecosystem, and then for us selfishly as humans, to our food industry.
Brian Peterson-Roest with us, Bees in the D. So a couple quick questions where we have to go. First of all, I was just wondering, are there bees in like dense urban environments? I mean, you go to downtown Detroit where there's not a whole lot of agriculture. I mean, there's flowers everywhere, but do bees exist essentially everywhere?
Yes, and actually, here's a misconception that I'm so excited to share with you. We work with another company called Best Bees that also does urban beekeeping in other cities around the nation. And their founder is an entomologist, and he studies bees. That's what he does for a living. And so they're doing a lot of data, and we're helping with some of that data that actually bees flourish and do better in an urban environment, even better than our rural environments.
Interesting.
Here's why. There is a more diversity of plant life. I even heard you say there's plants or flowers everywhere, but Detroit is even more prime for it because we have become an urban garden city because of all the vacant lots. And so our bees that we have right downtown, whether it's on the Shinola Hotel, the Foundation Hotel, on the Convention Center, those bees are flourishing and doing better than even our bees that are up at Blake's out in the rural areas.
Well, I'm glad I asked. Brian, I got to go. We're out of time. Can you provide people with your information so they can find out very quickly about your organization?
Definitely. We are at beesinthed.com and on social media at beesinthed. We share a lot more. You can see I could go on forever with educational stuff, but you can find it there. And we have a lot of fun events and places that people can get involved with our organization.
All right,
as
and
well.
thank you very much for your great connection to West Bloomfield Parks and our organization. Good to see you again. Brian, thank you very much for joining us.